Okay,
I didn't know
so
we were.
hey guys, this is our new show.
Yeah, I didn't know we were recording.
Let me mess with the audio things while Nick leads you in here.
Yes. I guess basically what we're doing. This is going to be a new series that we're starting. It's called Hot Topic. Hot Topics. Hot Topic. Basically, this is going to be our inaugural episode, and what we're going to do is we're just going to play some games and just talk about anything and everything. But this episode we have a specific topic set aside, and we're just going to talk about a little game that some friends of ours and we play.
And we're not talking about this game. This game is specific. The Hot Topic series will be for games that we don't think will be entertaining to commentate about the gameplay, but we think can make good background footage. And I actually just really want to play this game, and it looks fun. And I saw Rooster Teeth do a video on it, and I just don't feel like gameplay-wise it's exciting, but I want to play it. And this gives us a chance to talk about things that would take too long to talk about on something like the podcast, but we still get to talk about it. So, as you were saying, Nick.
And so we're going to talk about the map game, which is, we really don't have a name for it, but it's a game that I came up with, oh God, it's been maybe 8-9 years ago. It's that old, holy crap. But anyway, it's a game, and basically I take a regular piece of paper, and I just draw a map with some countries on it, and we divide up the countries, and I'm like the quarter. I call myself the quartermaster. I'm the guy that decides what happens to who, and and what goes on in the world, and how battles turn out, and how diplomacy turns out, and everything. And basically, that's what we're doing here, except we're playing on a massive kind of scale. I don't know. How would you describe it, Todd?
Well, it's basically Nick draws random shapes on a piece of paper, and they turn into countries and islands of sorts. And then he starts drawing borderlines of where countries are on these continents and such. And
what the heck?
Oh no, it's a plan of sorts. And then we pick a country, we name it, we name the ruler, Nick gives us seemingly random numbers that are they're random to us, but I'm sure Nick makes sense of it somehow. I'm not doing what it tells me to, because I want to explore. Oh, it's showing me anyway. Thought I could skip this. Anyway, we pick a country, we pick our ruler, sometimes we write it down, sometimes we just go by word of mouth for government, like, oh, we are a monarchy, or we're a democracy, dictator. You can complicate it. We usually do custom governments, actually.
Yeah.
And that's one of the funnest parts, just testing out different governments, and Nick decides, as the quartermaster, what works and what doesn't work. And you can pretty much do whatever. It's comparable to a tabletop RPG like Dungeons and Dragons, because you can do as much as your imagination lets you.
But instead of odds deciding everything, I decide everything.
Which I'm trying to get Nick to standardize it more like a tabletop RPG, so it'd be easier to get other people into it.
And we're still in that process.
He doesn't want to get out of control.
I don't, but we are in the process of standardizing
yes,
everything.
I've made an info sheet, and if Nick wants, he could even put that in the video, just as like a screenshot, because, I mean, it's just pretty simple to throw that in. What are you doing? Don't fall off. But it's just, I made a kind of standardized info sheet that it help speed things up, so we know what all information we need, and it's not even finished yet, but you gotta have, like, treasury and military. It's think of Sid Meier's Civilizations franchise, but in tabletop RPG form.
That's basically it.
With even, like, so much more freedom, you don't even believe, like, I remember one time I drew this ridiculous, like, prototype robot with a machine gun sticking out of its chest, packed with C4, and Nick allowed me to make this, and I named it Mr. Robo, and I gave it to a friend of ours that was running a country that was
and he's playing this game.
Yeah. It is being, very, very, aggressive, and he attacked one of my allies, and I warned him not to, and then I remotely detonated the C4, and we got in a squabble over it, and Nick basically said, well, I mean, he told me that he had a remote detonator for the C4 before he gave it to you, so I gotta let him have it, because you didn't find the remote detonator and get rid of it.
So, I mean, yeah, and in instances like that, we hold, like, what I call map court, and we hash it out, and I hear both sides, or whoever the quartermaster is, they hear out both sides, and then they decide from there what happens and how it happened and if it happened for a good reason. And you're climbing, falling. I don't know what you're doing.
I failed.
You failed.
I'm getting back up now.
Okay.
Continue.
And right now we're about usually how we do it. Each day is 1 year. So 1 day in real life is 1 year in map time. And each year the guys have to update their info sheets. They have to update their population. They have to update. They have to update their population. They have to update their treasury. They have to update their military, their approval rating, and that's about it. And then everything else, there's a lot of other demographics and statistics that they have to keep up with, but that they're updated every now and then, or whenever I tell them to update it.
And usually there's some sort of pattern or formula for it.
Yeah. And formulas have varied over the years. In the beginning, I just told them what to update them by, and then eventually we decided on, okay, you're going to update let's say your population by this number each year, and then we realized that wasn't really accurate. So I just said, okay, we're going to do everything by percentages now. Update by this percentage. So that's what we're doing now. But I guess, Todd, describe to them your country in this game.
That sunken orange. Anyways, yes.
Is that what that was?
I think so.
It looked like a pumpkin or something.
I don't know. But my country, I've based off of, it started off, a name I used to use in some video games was Lumon, Lumon. And I use that for the name of my country, but I made it sound more country-y, if that makes sense. I named it Lumos, which sounds like something to do with light, so I just went ahead and based it around light and asked Nick for what the area was like, and he said it was kind of a sunny marshland, great for farming, and I took that and ran with it, and and I rolled dice to determine some of my stats, and I rolled really high economically and treasury wise, but pretty low military wise, so I was a very economic nation. And I opted for a female ruler instead of a male one, mostly because I couldn't think of another male name I liked, and also because, it's nice to add variation. I almost always do a male ruler, and rulers change. You're always in charge of your country, but, you may go through 6 or 7 leaders before the map game ends.
And you're required to give each of them a definitive, well, not a definitive personality, but a personality that guides how you rule through that person.
It's like a tabletop RPG like D&D, but you go through multiple characters while still being the same character. Your character changes, but you're basically in charge of the same equipment, same items, same, in this case, military and money-wise. You're a different person, and if you say you had alliances or personal, trusting things, maybe you were really friendly with this other ruler, well, that might be gone now because you're a new person. But if you're the child of your previous ruler, like an heir, or a just completely new one from being elected, who knows about that? There could be, I know this game I'm supposed to be growing that giant plant, but I want to explore. I've never seen this part though that explored. But so personal relationships may disappear, but you can still have treaties and alliances and junk. So it has a bit of gameplay variation to it.
I'm so distracted right now by the gameplay.
This is a fun game. It looks neat too. But yeah, the game's really fun, and while Nick does control everything, he tries to be unbiased. Sometimes he fails.
The older I've gotten, the more unbiased I've gotten, I think.
You see any more crystals in this cave?
No.
Alright then. My job's done here.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
My memory's a little foggy of early days, but nowadays you're fairly unbiased unless you have a plan.
And I always have a plan.
Nick likes to plan things out, and he tries to plan them out to ruin your plans. The more he thinks you have plans, the more he does stuff to you.
Give them an example.
He's I had a lot of plans early on in this game for the brother of my leader, who was going to be in charge of the military. So what does he do? But make pirates kidnap him.
Well, first off, I think we need to go a little more backstory than that. Your leader's name.
This is
her name was
Sonora,
Sonora,
which is an old MMORPG game name I use.
and her brother's name was Lucas. Lucas. What was
I
it?
don't know why that rocks useful. Lucas Evergreen Lumos.
Yeah, Lucas Evergreen Lumos. And so it was Lucas and Sonora Lumos. And she was older, so she gained the throne. And basically, he was like the, I don't know what, he was being groomed to take command of your nation's military council.
Yes,
right?
he was like the youngest member, and he was basically would remain a young member, and eventually the eldest. The eldest is usually the one in charge, so eventually the eldest would hand it over to him and be like, "Okay, you've been trained enough. You're in charge because you're of the Lumos like blood." It's not quite a monarchy, but it's similar to one. It's like a democratic monarchy.
And so Todd kept telling me, "Hey Nick, I've got all these plans for Lucas.
I was gonna marry him off for diplomatic reasons.
Yeah, he would never tell me what that was, but come to find out, he was gonna marry him off for diplomatic reasons.
I must save the sheep,
which is smart, to marry off any royal blood for diplomatic ties.
The majority of the map game takes place in medieval pre-gunpowder era, but some map games, they start at different time zones. Some start modern times, some start medieval times, some start like Dawn of the Bow and Arrow times.
The Bronze Age.
This particular one started kind of medievally.
Low Middle Ages.
Around the time knights were growing more widespread.
Yeah, low Middle Ages. I mean,
sheep. I say
in the map game, you have to worry about your keeping your lords happy. Which lords have the most power?
They can betray you.
They can betray you. There's some insurgencies every now.
Do I not get anything for saving the sheep?
Obviously not. It looks a little spastic there.
There's probably something you can do with these things.
What are you doing?
Dragging it.
I thought you were trying to ride it.
Happy? Oh, that did something.
Data bank.
Oh, you can scan things. Alright, that's useful. Do I get you out of there now? Or do you just kind of stay there? I have no idea. Got it. Alright, sheep. Come on, sheep. Continue, Nick. Whatever you were saying.
I'm so distracted.
Got him.
I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
You were talking about keeping lords happy and...
Oh, yeah. Well, and one thing I like to do with the map game in general is I like there to be lore, so I ask each player, each leader, to come up with their own family history for their leader and a little bit of background of their nation, and then I expound on that. And for this map game, this is the first time I've ever done this, but I've got a journal, and I keep up with, like, all the religions, anything important. I keep up with facts about all the countries.
The sheep is following me now. I think it loves me now.
It looks. I mean, that's a diseased sheep. That is a diseased sheep, and I don't know if this is a pumpkin.
Well, apparently I can scan things by putting it in there, so I'm scanning it. But yeah, continue. New item scan.
What is it? Would it tell you?
Gordle.
Gordle.
It's of the squash family.
Oh, so it's a type of squash. Okay. A gourd, basically.
Try roasting this for each vessel with basically and some chloride.
Stews and risottos.
Meep.
Oh, it's not a sheep, it's a meep.
Meep.
Ruminant and mammal are ruminant.
I'll call you Terrence. There's a lot of things I can scan here, dang. Let's probably get on with the gameplay of this rather than exploring, but it's fun to do things.
And so anyway, and for this map game, I've created a book alongside the journal, and in the book I go deeper into the lore, because in the journal I just keep up with facts at the current point in the game about what maybe the players need to know about other nations, what they may encounter, or what may affect their gameplay. That goes in the journal, but in terms of lore, the history of each of their countries, the histories of other countries that they encounter, that goes into the book. And I write it all down. It all comes from my brain, and right now I'm typing up, I'm on the 3rd chapter, the Great Eastern War, which just happened, it just ended. I'm typing,
There were
there was a lot that
some
went
things
on.
that happened that I'm not happy about, but I've gotten over. You gotta roll the punches with this game. If you don't, you will be sad, and you will probably end up quitting.
Yeah, you'll hate the game.
And you'll hate Nick.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he does what he does mainly to screw with your plans to keep you guessing.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be fun for me, so I have to get really creative with that. But it's a fun game. I've played it myself, both as quartermaster player and just as player.
Have you ever played without being quartermaster?
Yes, I have.
Who was the quartermaster?
Adam.
I don't think I was part of that game.
No, you were not. I think this was before your time. Before you.
Yeah, I joined in late.
I think this was before you were birthed.
I'm older than you.
Exactly. So yeah. Do you want to tell? I mean, what else do you want to talk about?
More map game business. Also, are you timing this? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. We'll go for another 15 minutes.
I should actually probably get some actual gameplay going rather than just crystal hunting. I mean, you could talk about some stuff that's happened so far in this map game. That's probably more interesting than talking about the actual gameplay mechanics of the game.
One of the most interesting things that's happened in this game, I think, and I've written it down. That was bad. I've written it down, and what we collectively have come to call it. It's called the War of Betrayal. And I'll be honest, Todd kind of looked out on this because it really centers around Todd. But as he mentioned earlier with his brother, Lucas, him being captured by pirates, well, it all starts out. The Queen, Sonora, Todd was distracted. She was in her capital city, going about her business. We were playing the game, blah, 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 blah. Well, she sends Lucas to the island city of Laris, which is just off the main coast. And why did you send him there?
Because I was doing a tour to try to increase my approval rating.
Yeah.
And to do this would have taken a long time. So I split the main cities between Sonora and her brother, thinking, okay, I'll get the approval of both of them at the same time.
And anyway, so he was on Laris. Well, come to find out, some pirates came, attacked the city of Laris, laid siege to it. These pirates were pretty awesome. And they captured the prince. They captured Lucas. And for how long? Maybe 2 years you went searching for him?
I sent a lot of people out searching for them.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the brother back so I could use him for my plans, which Nick screwed over.
Well, come to find out, Sonora found out that the pirates were from the region Dref. Well, Dref used to be an ancient empire, one of the greatest empires in the world. I mean, it literally ruled the entire world at one point. But, I mean, this was millennia ago, tens of thousands of years ago. Anyway, but the region of Dref still exists. Well, it still exists within the Plethine Empire.
Woo!
What in the world? Oh, it's a spring leaf.
Oh, I'm going to get that crystal.
In the Plethine Empire, there's this region of Dref. It's a very rocky, very deserty, coastal region. Very rough. There's a lot of rough people that come out of Dref, the region.
Saw another one.
A lot of bandits, a lot of corsairs, a lot of brigands and heathens.
Way down there.
And anyway, so come to find out, the queen heard rumors that they may have been pirates of the Dreffin pirates. So she sends an envoy to the region of Dref to treat with the governor of Dref, who is loyal to the Plethine Empire.
Was it Morton?
No, Mortem is the emperor of the Plethine Empire.
Well, not anymore.
Well, yeah, not anymore. That's another story, though. Anyway, basically, the envoy went walking out of there with an effigy of Lucas strapped to his ship, and so basically, the Empire and the governor were.
I'm pretty sure most people know what an effigy is, but
Yeah.
for those of them who might not be more history buff people or just have heard the term before, because I know there's some people who haven't. Nick can probably give a more exact definition of me, but it's not a good thing.
He says all that and then does not describe what
I'm
he's
also
describing.
distracted because I'm actually the one playing the game.
Anyway, an effigy is basically like a scarecrow, except it's made to look like a single person to mock that person. Anyway, they've been used historically. So this envoy found an effigy of Lucas on his vessel as he was sailing back home. Well, on his way home, he stopped by the island.
I don't know what just
the
happened.
island nation of Tarf to treat
Oh,
with
it
the
made it.
Tarfin king. And as he was treating with the Tarfin king, the Plathenes declared war on Tarf and surrounded Tarf and basically killed everybody
It
in
made
the
it
Tarfin
without.
capital.
This thing made it to the rock without me because I fell off. I didn't know I had to hold the buttons.
Anyway, and so as all this is going down, Sonora basically finds out that the Plathene Empire area, the entire situation at Tarf, is a distraction. The Plathene Empire, the Emperor has sent an entire fleet to treat with Dulcia, and Dulcia is a country of mages and wizards.
I'd like to mention that it was not difficult at all to find out that was a distraction. I don't know if Nick intended it for it to be difficult.
Anyway, and so the Emperor recruited his cousin to lead this little expeditionary force of about 45,000 Plathene soldiers. And they recruited the help of the Dulcian mages and the Great Order of the Mage of the Berry. And with that, they sailed down to Lumos. And
I wonder if I can make this.
basically invaded Lumos. Yeah, they invaded Lumos. And he
Yes.
battled them. And
But
basically
before they
lost.
invaded the Lumos, the Navy battle that went on as
the
they
battle
reached.
of the Battle of Waterrun.
Yes, that's. I have I had a advanced type of ship they did not have that I had. I had based it on a trading vessel that was one of the first that could cross the Troubled Sea, which was a huge ocean that separates the two continents.
Which
And-
the Plathene Empire is on one continent and Lumos is on the
Yeah,
other.
so I had perfected this ship, and I've named it the Anduin since then, and I still use it even now. It's a very powerful ship. I was outnumbered, and I managed to take out half of their fleet with... I took 25... I lost 175. They lost 150 ships. But their ships were better equipped and had, like, wizard mage people on them. So I count that as a small victory.
And their commander, Rinlak, came to treat with his commander of his navy, and Rinlak ended the meeting by stabbing his admiral in the chest with his sword. Well, Rinlak is the cousin of the emperor of the Plathene Empire, Mortem. And anyway, so Rinlak leads his forces up the river, up into Lumos, and then calls for a peace talk kind of thing, a summit with Queen Sonora. They meet in the city of Droon, which is on the Titan River. And, well, guess who shows up?
You should really, like, take a picture of the map and put it up during certain parts of this video.
Guess who shows up?
Dun dun dun!
Tell them.
Lucas Evergreen.
Turns out that Lucas
Perfect name.
sold this idea to Emperor Mortem and said that if Emperor Mortem would give him backup, he would take the throne of Lumos and he would ally Lumos with the Plathenes against all of Plathene's enemies. So this was basically Lucas's power play for the throne to get Sonora off the throne so that he could take the kingdom. Well, Lucas tries to kill his sister, but she escapes, and after that there's some battles, there's some wars. The queen basically begs for help from her allies and from her neighbors.
Well,
She receives
Nick
it.
says I beg. I simply said ask, but
She begged.
it
trust
was
me.
a desperate situation, so...
And it came down to the wire, literally. Todd was down to his last 3,000 men getting ready to be defeated, and then out of nowhere, some of his allies swoop in and save his rear. And then that was the end of that. And he basically won the War of Betrayal, and that's why it's called the War of Betrayal, because Lucas betrayed Sonora. So
And then I stab him. I kill him, personally.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah. Oh, and Renlac. You killed Renlac too.
That was public execution, though.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, the public execution was Renlac and his councilmen that were there. The brother was private, though. I didn't want the people of my country to see a sister killing her brother. That would have been very rude.
But yeah, and by the way, one major statistic, Todd was outnumbered 4-1. The Plathene force was made of really 50,000 men when you count the Tonatruians, but 50,000 men against Todd's 11,000. So, but if we count your allies, you had about 20,000. So,
but you forget to mention the Tonatruian troops
are like the best in the game.
Yeah.
One Tonatruian soldier can kill like 3 or 4. One Tonatruian soldier equals like 3 or 4 other of anybody else's soldier. I mean, they're awesome. They're awesome. But yeah, so that's just I guess that's kind of a lowdown of how the map game goes, just in general.
It's really, really fun. Did you want to talk about the newest war we had?
Not really.
You want to save that?
Yeah, I'm gonna save that.
All right. How you liking Grow Home so far, Nick?
It's very distracting. I can't stay focused, so I guess that means it's good.
Good background game. Cause there's nothing to really talk about. Like, I'm climbing a mountain. There's a lot of waterfall sounds right now. I'm going after this crystal over here. It's a good background game. Very peaceful. There's no like consequence. Like I could fall in that ocean and die, but there's no consequence to it. It's like, oh, fell in the ocean.
Because death gives no consequence.
He's a robot. Of course it's not.
All right, guys. We appreciate y'all watching this new series. I guess hopefully we'll continue with this. Don't forget we have a link down below. Subscribe. Go follow us on Twitter. Go follow us on Tumblr. Go like us on Facebook. We post stuff on there all the time. Are you just killing yourself?
Bye.
I guess he is. All right, guys. See you later.